USA.com.
It's been 3 weeks since 10 inmates escaped from a New Orleans jail. 2 remain at large.
The last sighting of convicted killer Derek Groves was in a grainy surveillance video in New Orleans Central Business District on the day of the escape. Fellow fugitive Antoine Massey, on the other hand, appears to have posted an Instagram video in which he proclaims his innocence. As if to taunt the local, state, and federal authorities searching for him, Massey appears to have posted a new image to Instagram along with a 2-word message: "I'm innocent." Jim Ryan, ABC News.
A jury in Wisconsin has convicted a Milwaukee man of murdering and dismembering a 19-year-old college student on the night of their first date in April 2024. Maxwell Anderson faces mandatory life in prison when he's sentenced August 15th. The Mexican Navy training ship that crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge last month has moved to the Brooklyn Navy Yard for further investigation.
For the past few weeks, that Mexican naval ship has sat here at Pier 36 waiting to be moved. There were some difficulties securing permissions from the Mexican government after that horrible, deadly accident a few weeks ago.
ABC's Lindsay Tuckman. A nonprofit founded by former President George H.W. Bush is starting a new initiative to double the number of people who volunteer with U.S. charities in the next decade. Points of Light wants to mobilize 150 million people to volunteer and aims to spend $100 million in the next 3 years to support the goal. I'm Dave Packer, ABC News.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room, and now everything smells weird.
All right.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliate.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
It's time to take a look at this hour's news headlines here on KVNU. I'm J.D. Walker. The Russian government has blacklisted Brigham Young University, adding the school to its list of undesirable organizations and labeling it as a threat to the country's safety, laws, and operation. According to the report published by the Moscow Times on June 3rd, BYU and German's Kober Foundation were officially added to the list, with their names appearing on the Russian Federation's Ministry of Justice website on April 29th. Neither the Prosecutor General's office nor the Ministry has commented on the new entries. BYU offers a Russian major. Their website states the program includes study abroad and international internship opportunities within the country. Those who violate Russia's undesirable organizations law can face up to 4 years in prison, while organizing leaders can face up to 6, the Moscow Times wrote. Russia adopted the law back in 2015. The Times reported that nearly 230 organizations are currently blacklisted by the Russians. In other news, community concerns over a concentration of massage parlors in Salt Lake's Ballpark neighborhood led to police to undercover operations last month that identified undisclosed violation at 5 of the 6 massage enterprises. In May 2025, Salt Lake City Police Department Special Investigation Unit, their detectives conducted 6 undercover operations in Salt Lake City's Ballpark neighborhood in response to those community concerns of potential illegal conduct occurring during massage therapy appointments. Police also acknowledged previous cases in which some massage therapy businesses have also been connected to the elements of human trafficking. In one section of Main Street, massage parlors are on back-to-back blocks, and on State, a massage business is across the street from another. Ballpark parlors are open during the day and into the night. Police did not describe the Ballpark business's violation as criminal. Thursday night, the Neighborhood Community Council met to get more information on the parlors and the Utah Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing and the Salt Lake County Health Department, and from police. And finally, the University of Utah Tuesday announced it terminated Sigma Nu's fraternity chapter recognition, ending the fraternity's affiliation with the U for at least 6 years. The termination comes after an investigation to allege hazing of new members during the fall of 2024 and spring of 2025 recruitment period. In a May letter to Sigma Nu leaders, Vice President of Student Student Affairs, Lori McDonald, called the chapter's pattern of hazing new recruits and violations of university policy egregious, adding that the chapter has a history of alcohol-related violations and destruction of property over the past 6 years. The investigation, which began in January, confirmed a number of incidents, including encouraging the purchase and use of illegal substance to meet new interview member requirements, blindfolding and transporting new members to an exotic dance club for pledge interviews. Sigma Nu will not be allowed to reapply for recognition until 2031. Additionally, Sigma Nu's national organization suspended the fraternity's charter. A look at your weather this hour brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa has what you need to be prepared for hotter weather. Find what you need at Napa online, or you can talk to them at any of the Preston to Providence locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores. Sunny skies today, a high of 78. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 52. Taking a quick peek at your Saturday, going to be beautiful, sunny, and 84 degrees. That's been a look at this hour's news headlines here on KVNU. I'm J.D. Walker.
Hey listeners, let's talk comfort. Specifically, how Cardinals insulation can help. Did you know the average home loses up to 35% of its heated or cooled air through the walls and roof? But here's the good news. When you call Cardinals, not only will you feel the difference with a quieter, more energy-efficient home, but you could also qualify for a tax credit up to $1,200. Save money year-round with Cardinals insulation. Call 755-5012. That's 755-5012.
Here's Chad, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
Just a couple tips for this summer for a healthier lawn. Raise your lawnmower blade a notch or two. Longer grass helps conserve water and fight against stress. Double check your sprinkler coverage and watering times. Then call the lawn doctor to put down a grub preventative and to try our popular new 2-service soil enrichment program.
Fertilizer, weed, and pest control. Call the lawn doctor at 753-LAWN or go to LawnDoctorCashValley.com.
At Mountain Valley Heating and Air Conditioning, Feel the Love is more than just heating and cooling. It means giving back. 5 complete HVAC systems will be donated to a deserving person or family. Feel the love and nominate that person or family in need at mtnvalleyhvac.com. Nominate prior to September 1st, 2025. See website for all details.
It's the 26th annual Northern Utah Wild Horse and Burro Festival this Friday and Saturday. The festival is located at the Desert Peak Complex in Grantsville, Utah. Be ready to take home your wild horse or burro. Adopt your horse or burro and enjoy a wild horse show and extreme challenge on Friday and Saturday. It's your chance to adopt a horse or burro this Friday and Saturday in Grantsville, Utah. For more information, go to Utah Wild Horse and Burro Festival on Facebook.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Is Steph Willis there?
This is she.
A group of people reached out to us. They were telling us about the work that you do there at the Terrace Grove Assisted Living Center. And they said, we as residents are most grateful for the time and attention that Steph gives to us.
So kind.
I've got a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs just for being a hero in our community.
That is so kind. I appreciate that. Wow.
The Above and Beyond Salute on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's special, extended, best ever, longer than usual bonus movie show. Andy Morgan joining us here in just a bit, and it's been a interesting movie year, to say the least. It's box office trends have been weird. I was reading just today that one of the strangest trends is for reasons I can't imagine what, and the experts and critics don't seem to have much of a theory, but pre-sale tickets are through the roof for some reason, but only recently. Well, it started with the Minecraft movie and then continued on through Mission Impossible was a big one. Lilo and Stitch was a big one, and sales for movies that just came, the DreamWorks live action, How to Train Your Dragon, and the upcoming F1 Brad Pitt vehicle. Get it? It's about a car. It has a car in it. Mickey 17 was another one, but ticket pre-sales for these movies, for whatever reason, were through the roof compared to historical records. And honestly, I have no idea what might be behind that, what the reason for that is. But I do know it kind of speaks to this overall. I know it's almost cliche at this point to say the pandemic both changed everything and changed nothing at the same time. There were a lot of people remember predicting in 2020 when no movies were coming out and they were postponing big ones like Dune and Top Gun and all of that. They said, this is the end of the movie theater chain. And Andy correctly said, pshaw, it's not the end of the movie theater chain. But it's sort of a unpredictable world. Let's say that has existed since 2020. So it wasn't the end of the movie theater chains. It wasn't the end of people going to movies. It took a while, getting the engine started again. It took some cranking, but we did, eventually see. I'm trying to remember now. I think it was Top Gun Maverick that was the first real big, all right, movies are back. And then, of course, you had the next year Oppenheimer and Barbie on the same weekend, and that was when they were really back. But we also saw, after the pandemic, the audiences got picky, or pickier. They've always been picky, but they got pickier. It was a little harder. And to back up just a little bit, there's still a question that exists. Is this a marketing thing? Did the boom years for movies of 2018 and 19 cause both theater chains and production companies to get a little lazy in their marketing, just kind of assuming people would show up because what else are they going to do? That's a possibility. The other one is the experience just not enough to get people out of their homes and away from their streaming services? They're still willing to. Barbie showed that. Top Gun Maverick showed that. Dune Part 2 and Part 1 really showed that. You had these big movies. Thunderbolts is showing that now. Minecraft this year really showed that. So they're Sinners, too, the sleeper hit of the year so far. The movies, there were 10, 20 movies over the last 3 years that you can point to and say, people aren't against. The pandemic didn't ruin the go out to the movies experience for people. They're still very much interested, but they're still just not falling in line every weekend like they were. And there's big conversations are happening about, personally, I still think that movie theater chains refuse to acknowledge they need to stop phoning it in. And in a lot of ways they are. And they're trying gimmicky stuff. I maintain no one wants a vibrating chair, the D-Box thing. The luxury seating is great, but make it theater wide here in Cache Valley like they do in Salt Lake. I think that's a good idea. Sure, maybe you have fewer tickets to sell by 10 for each screening, but you can add another screening because more people are going to show up because the seats are more comfortable and you have more leg space. I also think considerations for the lobby experience. If someone wants to, I saw this recently at a megaplex here in Logan, and it made me so sad. There was an older couple. I don't know what they're going to see, but they just wanted to buy a ticket the old school way. They hadn't bought one online. They weren't using the app. They didn't want to use maybe they didn't even notice the kiosk just inside the door where you can swipe your card and buy a ticket. They walked up to the counter, and I heard them talking because we were standing behind them in line, and I heard them talking, saying, there's so many people in front of us, and the movie's going to start. Now, I wanted to tell them you've got 15 minutes of advertisements before the movie actually starts, so you're good. But they were very worried. And then I heard them say, well, maybe we'll just skip popcorn. And then they did. They just got out of line and skipped popcorn. And I actually, at that point, regretted not telling them, look, you got 15 minutes to 20 minutes of commercials. You're good. But it was too late. They were gone. And they slipped out of line. They didn't buy popcorn and drinks like they planned to. And they instead went straight into the theater. And that's because you have to wait in the same line to do either at this specific location. Things like that, I think... I don't know. I get it. It's tough because there are so few people coming in to actually buy tickets in person anymore. I get why they've scaled that back, but recognizing at least for the 15 minutes before and after a movie starts, recognizing you're still going to have, and most likely it's going to be older individuals, you're still going to have a decent number of people who are coming through wanting to buy tickets to a movie in person. And it wouldn't be that hard to have one person who's at least keeping an eye on that and a separate line for those individuals. So there are things like that, but I think that's going to be minor as far as the overall experience goes and what's causing audiences to be more, again, for lack of a better term, picky. They're selective about what they, again, the box office shows people are willing to come out. They want to come out. They're excited to come out for certain movies, but they're not going to just show up every weekend anymore. That's something that definitely changed after 2020. And I don't think it's the quality of the content. I think it is a part of, this new mentality that Andy and I have joked about this a lot. We're both old enough to remember when, if you didn't see it in theaters, you might not get a chance to see it again. At least that's what we were thinking. And then VHS and rental stores came along, but even then, not everything made its way to the rental stores. And VHS itself at first was so expensive, no one was buying copies, except for the rich elite. But it's changed so much now that, I've heard people say this a lot, and it's not really a joke, but I think what is showing up in the box office numbers now is the simple fact that you wait a couple of weeks and you'll probably be able to see it or rent it on a subscription streaming service of some kind. And I do think that changes the dynamics enough that I don't think this is the end of movie theaters. I don't think it's the end of movie theater chains, but I do think it changes the dynamics enough that you still see the decision makers at chains kind of sticking their heads in the sound a little bit. And this might just be my personal bias coming through too, because one of the ideas that's been thrown out by the Megaplex chain recently is this all-inclusive, well, not all-inclusive, but this more of an event-like night out where you've got a play. So the theater isn't just a theater, it's still a theater. And they still have, 5-6 different films playing at each location. With luxury seating. That's part of the remodel of a lot of the Megaplex locations, including University right now. And but on top of that, you've got a bowling alley, you've got a restaurant, maybe 2 restaurants, you've got a coffee shop or a place where people could get a dirty soda, like a indoor swig location with seating. I get it, and I think it's probably not a bad decision to go in that direction. I'm skeptical that this is what audiences want. I feel like the night out that includes or ends with a movie or maybe starts with a movie if you're a late eater, I feel like people, they've already got that down, especially here in downtown Logan where, just downtown Logan. You go to downtown Logan, you can get any food you want really right now, and you're 4 minutes from the theater. And you've got that 15, 20-minute commercial preview buffer on movie start time. So I'm skeptical that the come to the movie theater at 6 o'clock and don't leave until 11 experience is what a lot of people want. I'm sure there are probably a lot of I'm thinking right now, there are probably a lot of young people, or maybe it's a lot of young people's parents who would love this, who would think, I can drop the kids off and they can get food, they can go bowling, and then they can see a movie, and then I'll pick up my loud, obnoxious teenagers after the movie. And for a lot of young people who maybe can't drive yet, that's probably a cool night out. But the total movie-going populace, I'm skeptical this is what they want. I think what they want is, obviously everybody wants cheaper prices, but I think people will still go even if they're paying $10 for a tub of popcorn. But I think what they want is more of an acknowledgement. Let me put it this way. I feel like talking with the irregular moviegoers, recognizing that people like Andy and I are maybe exceptions to the rule. We see a lot more movies than the average person, and definitely a lot more movies than the average family. It's very expensive for a family of 4 or 5 or 6 to go out all together to a movie. That's maybe a once a month experience for them, just because of the family budget. I feel like to some extent, not as bad, but to some extent, I feel like the average moviegoer right now feels towards the big chains, especially a little bit like they do towards the way we're treated by airlines. Once a month you see a headline about airlines coming up with some new way to squeeze more people in and reduce leg space and elbow space in the seating area. There was even one a while ago in which, now luckily this design ended up being just kind of someone threw it out there as maybe we should do this. And it was a standing kind of thing, so they could actually put you like back to chest almost, with just a few inches in between you and the person in front of you and behind you. And you were kind of in this standing position, but you were sitting on a little bit of a stool, and the justification was, that it's better for circulation, and you're not really doing anything when you're in those seats anyway. So why have your legs bent instead of just hanging? And the internet went wild with this is literal cattle car kind of stuff. And I feel like a lot of moviegoers are there with the theaters. They feel like the theater chains have been treating them a bit like like airlines do. How can we pack more people in? How can we milk every dollar from them while they're here? How can we give them the barest minimum of service and comfort while they're here at the movie theater, with the bottom line being the only thing we're kind of thinking of. Megaplex has done a good job of trying to change their reputation on that. Some other chains, not quite as much. Cinemark really struggling with that because they can't seem to get away from the how do we milk every dollar from everybody kind of thing. But people just want to go in and sit comfortably in comfortable climate control, especially in the summer months here in Utah, and watch a movie that they've been excited to see, or that they are even mildly excited to see. And they don't want to have to take out a personal loan to do it with the family. And I maintain, I don't think they really want the full here all night experience. I think they just want to go see movies, and they want to be able to get in quickly and enjoy themselves while they're there, and maybe have some snacks. Make that experience better before we start turning the Megaplex theater chain into a Disney cruise experience, right? My thoughts. All right. Kicking off for the Movie People show here. Andy Morgan joining us in just a bit, and hope you'll stick with us in theaters this weekend. By the way, not a lot new. Here in Logan, though, you can still see Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Karate Kid Legends is the big opener this weekend. Not sure that needed to happen, but it did. And Bring Her Back, a horror movie playing here in Logan, alongside Final Destination Bloodlines, also playing here in Logan. You can still see Thunderbolts. If you want a flashback movie, they're doing Boss Baby at various locations, and Sinners still in theaters as well. So plenty to get out and see. We'll be talking about Bring Her Back. This is a follow-up film, not a sequel, but a follow-up film by a directors Danny and Michael Philippou, who made the really creepy Talk to Me, which you can see on Netflix right now if you really want to be creeped out. That is the big opener this weekend. Rated R, and the plot synopsis, pretty simple, really. A brother and sister uncover a terrifying ritual at the secluded home of their foster mother. If you've seen the trailer, it looks extremely creepy, to be honest with you. So that is the only new film in theaters here in Logan this weekend. Coming up, though, as I mentioned, it's a pretty big June. You've got How to Train Your Dragon, Jurassic World Rebirth, Elio, Disney Pixar film, which looks really funny, Brad Pitt in F1, the movie, Ballerina from the world of John Wick. This is it does star Keanu Reeves, but it's not about John Wick anymore. They've moved on or something. I'm not sure. But that is, also in June, Megan Mithrigan, as Andy calls it, 2.0. The Materialists, Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. They keep making those. And quite a bit coming up in June. So one other final note here from the movie news world for those who have or plan to see the latest Mission Impossible film. Tom Cruise, so TMZ, I think this is kind of mean. TMZ did a How Tom Cruise Has Aged expose. And they contrasted Tom Cruise in 1996, Tom Cruise in 2005, and they didn't really come out and say it, but the overall point of this is that he has aged well, and the speculation is, what's he doing to age well? Is it plastic surgery? Is it anyway? For whatever reason, fans of Tom Cruise decided that this was just mean-spirited and didn't need to happen, and they let they let the TMZ writers know. It was really kind of interesting to see. There were folks reading through some of the comments here. So over 1,100 comments on a 3-paragraph kind of mean-spirited photo comparison of Tom Cruise and how he's aged over the years. The responses range from, you are everything that's wrong with entertainment media in this day and age, to what happened to you? Have you no soul? And my response was reflected in a lot of the comments as well. And my response was basically slow news day or something. I don't know. So check it out. But it's nice to see people standing up for or standing up against mean-spiritedness. All right. Stick around. More of the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan to come right after this. Look at the news with KVNU's We'll Feel Right.
Look at this hour's news headlines here on KVNU. I'm J.D. Walker. A 47-year-old Logan man previously charged with sexual battery and public urination has been found incompetent to stand trial. Isa Dayar has been in the Cache County Jail for the past 11 months. According to court records, Dayar appeared June 2nd in Logan's 1st District Court. He was previously charged with 3 counts of lewdness involving a child, 2 counts of sexual battery, and 2 counts of criminal trespass, all Class A misdemeanors, along with the infractions and incidents that took place in August 2023, May and July 2024. On May 29, 2024, the Logan City police officers received a call claiming Dayar was seen urinating into the Little Logan River. He reportedly had long hair and was wearing gray sweater with black pants. Police arrived on the scene and located the suspect, later identified as Dinar, and he reportedly did not speak English and had a heavy odor of alcohol coming from his person. 3 juveniles described how the man allegedly exposed himself while urinating in the small creek. He had fled the area on foot, walking west on 400 South before being located by police. During Monday's court hearing, a representative from the Utah State Hospital said they evaluated the man and determined he was not competent to be able to defend himself against the charges. Doctors had also reported there's little chance of competency being restored through treatment. Following the report of the evaluations, Judge Angela Fonsbeck had dismissed 3 pending cases. According to jail records, the man has been released from jail. In other news, a group of suspects broke into the new Roosevelt Elementary School under construction. The suspects have vandalized the building, causing thousands of dollars of damage. The Weber School District is offering a $500 reward for information leading to the arrest and prosecution of those involved. Lieutenant Sean Ensley with the Weber County Sheriff's Office said, if you recognize those in the photos or have any information related to the case, please contact law enforcement. It's going to be a beautiful weekend here in Cache Valley. You're going to want to get out and enjoy the weather and heading out to Hiram Hot Wheels Car Show. Car enthusiasts from across the valley will be in Hiram this weekend for the 12th annual Hiram Hot Wheels Car Show, taking place this Saturday at the Hiram City Square from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is the biggest fundraiser for the museum, and it continues to grow in popularity. There will be food trucks, prize drawings, and awards given at 3 p.m. There are generally vehicles in different stages of development at the Hiram Hot Wheels Car Shows. Some cars are being worked on, some need to be worked on, and plenty are finished to examine. Hiram City Museum curator Courtney Koschel says that there are more vehicles registered than ever. There will also be 7 food trucks to feed anyone looking for something to eat, and the Cache Valley Kids Market will be there too. Man, I tell you, those kids from the Cache Valley Kids Market, they serve up some delicious treat. I had a pretzel stick dribbled with chocolate and caramel the last time I went out there, and still craving that. So that'll be taking place at the Hiram City Square from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Quick look at weather brought to you by Big O Tires. It's the Worry Less-a-thon at Big O Tires now through June 22nd. Buy 3 Big O brand tires and get the 4th tire free. Plus, get our tire protection warranty with tire purchases. Sunshine and 78 today. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 52. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 84 degrees. It's going to be absolutely beautiful for your weekend here in Cache Valley. I'm J.D. Walker, and that's a look at this hour's news headlines on KVNU.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Hey Cache Valley, this is Clay with Canyon Plumbing and Heating. In 2005, I started this company to serve a great community, my way. Over the years, I've loved the opportunity to be able to get to know so many people in my hometown. To come into your home to take care of your plumbing and heating problems, being there when you needed us the most, and using our skills to take care of the things that cause you stress. Over the last 20 years, with the help of this amazing community, we've grown Canyon Plumbing and now have an awesome team of technicians to serve your plumbing, heating, and air conditioning needs. Call us at 435-881-6952.
When it comes to the trees in our yard, there's a fine line between beautiful and dangerous.
So we call Whole Tree Care. They trim our large trees to prevent property damage, and they shape our trees and shrubs to keep them healthy and looking beautiful.
No matter how big or hard to reach, Whole Tree Care's experienced crew can trim or remove any tree.
And they clean up every branch when they're done.
Call 760-6587. Mention this ad and get 10% off. Whole Tree Care, 760-6587.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Arkansas authorities announcing they've captured the ex-police chief and convicted killer who walked out of an Arkansas state prison dressed as a guard.
After a nearly 2-week-long manhunt, escapee Grant Harden is back in custody. Recently, a specialized Border Patrol unit had been sent in to help find him. Arkansas's Department of Correction says Harden was captured just 1.5 miles away from the prison grounds and that his identity has been confirmed by fingerprints. Harden was serving time for rape and murder before his escape. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Mistakenly deported migrant Kilmar Abrego Garcia now back on U.S. soil. The Trump administration says he'll stand trial in Tennessee for allegedly transporting migrants. Fallout after the war words between Elon Musk and President Trump. On Air Force One this evening, Trump asked if he plans to make up with the billionaire.
I haven't thought about it.
Do you have any plans to contact?
I hope he does well with Tesla.
Earlier, Trump saying Musk had, quote, lost his mind. This is ABC News.
I'm Michelle, a leukemia survivor from Utah. After my diagnosis, my family and I decided that we can do hard things. Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we didn't do them alone, and I survived. but the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society needs more help. Donating at helpmichelle.com will ensure that many people survive and will help fund research, advocacy, and patient support. Please do the easy thing and donate at helpmichelle.com. Thank you.
Do you have a nasty weed problem? We have the right person for you. Sir, you work for Logan Extermination, don't you? Can you help these folks get rid of pesky dandelions?
Of course I can help. I am the Terminator. I will terminate those little yellow devils in your yard. Call me at Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Terminate your weeds and green up your lawn for only $45, based on maximum 5,000 square feet.
Even if a family member has or had dementia, it doesn't mean you will. Dementia affects the brain and your ability to perform daily activities. Lifelong learning will keep your brain healthy and can reduce your risk of dementia. Engage your brain through hobbies and learning new things. For more brain health tips, visit dementia.utah.gov. This message is brought to you by the Utah Alzheimer's Association and Alzheimer's Disease and Related Dementias Coordinating Council.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Morris Columbus Travel and Regent Cruises. Dreaming of a luxury escape? Regent Cruises offers all-inclusive voyages around the world. Indulge in the ultimate cruise experience with gourmet dining, spacious suites, and exclusive shore excursions. Call Morris Columbus Travel today.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
Finding comfort outdoors by upgrading your landscape is easy with the creative touch of Canyon Landscaping. Imagine beautifully designed planting beds, an outdoor patio with landscape lighting to help you relax, entertain, and enjoy your home. Your project designed around your lifestyle and professionally installed, on budget and on time. See their work at canyonlandscaping.com or call 752-3838 to get started right away. Canyon Landscaping. Look for the leaf.
That's great, it starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an airplane, and Lenny Bruce is not afraid.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Movie Show. Andy Morgan here in the studio with us. I've put off asking so we could talk about movies and everything, but I want to hear more about you. You got to speak at a graduation ceremony. And you worked movies in.
Kind of, yeah. It was so Logan High has this tradition, I think, that's been going on since 1947. I think it was 1947. It's called the candlelight ceremony. Sounds like something you do and maybe have a seance, but that's not what happens.
I think that's.
Although, I mean, that could have happened after. I'm not 100% sure. It didn't happen. So I graduated from Logan High School. Not going to say the year, but I've been asked to come and speak multiple times, and I've declined multiple times. Just because I've always been like, guys, there's someone so much more qualified. Someone so much more inspirational.
I wish more politicians would say that.
Someone more qualified? Yeah, that's true.
Because no offense to the Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, he's a very nice guy, but he spoke at the Twilla graduation, and can you imagine working that hard, and then they're just like, it's the Speaker of the Utah House.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how many 18-year-olds are like, whoa, yes.
I mean, it looks shiny. I mean, that's the thing. Like when they were introducing me, they were like, he's a member of the Utah Film Critics Association and has a radio show.
I would guess more of the high school kids found that interesting than an elected official.
He likes marketing and business development and collects a lot of sneakers. Actually, probably should have said that.
Hates the Muppets.
Yeah, I should have thrown that in too. But yeah, no.
You worked in Jaws? What else? You told me Jaws, Return of the Jedi.
Well, the thing I always get, the first thing,
Twilight.
When I meet somebody for the first time, that would actually have been really funny. I have regrets. If people had said, people always say to me when they first meet me, and if they know I do, anything movie wise, they're like, "What's your favorite movie?" And I'm always, my answer 9 times out of 10 is Jaws.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back's up there. What's hard for me is to rank order things, just because. Aliens up there. There's a lot of movies that, I could say, oh, this is my favorite movie. But I worked in Jaws and The Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is funny because Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom are kind of on the same level. There's a lot of people that love Raiders. They love The Last Crusade, but they don't like Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
And I actually would argue that even though I give the slight nod to Raiders just for almost kind of nostalgia's sake, the Temple of Doom, I think, is actually probably one of the better of the three.
If I'm going to rewatch one, well, I mean, to be honest,
it's got way more comedy.
Sean Connery's
great.
If I'm going to rewatch one, I tend to gravitate towards
The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade,
not Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, huh?
No, I forgot that one existed. I really do.
That one I blame on George Lucas, but I did
not enjoy watching that movie.
I also blame. I mean, it's one of those weird things. It's just like the prequels. You know,
you went back and rewatched it and said it wasn't as bad as you remembered it. Right?
I mean, it's not as bad, but
see, I've never seen it. I saw it one time, and I stomped out of the theater afterwards like a petulant child.
You should go watch it again. Here's the issue with the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It suffers from the same problem that the Hobbit movies do and that the prequels do. And here's really what it is it smells like Raider. It smells like Indiana Jones, feels like Indiana Jones, but it just does not hit like the ones you remember. And that's the problem sometimes, I think, is we all wear nostalgia goggles. And so the question is it really bad or is it just you're in a different time in your life and it's not landing like it did in 1981 or whatever?
I've come around to seeing the Star Wars prequels that way, but my challenge to that when it comes to the Indiana Jones flops, which that last one I liked a lot more than audiences or critics did.
I think I actually liked the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull better.
You did, really?
I can't believe I'm saying that.
Really? I enjoyed the what was it called? I can't remember the name of it, but
Grandpa Jones and
the Indy Retires.
And the hidden AARP card.
It was the Indy Retires episode of Indiana Jones. I liked that one because it seemed like it was a story. It brought the story to a close, and so I enjoyed it for that reason. But to challenge the idea that it's just nostalgia that taints, these franchises coming back, and you're not a kid anymore, and so you think it sucks. Top Gun. I've gone back and rewatched the original Top Gun, and I liked that a lot more as a teenager than I did as an adult.
Oh, for real. There's movies that don't hold up.
But the sequel was, I thought,
fantastic.
One of the best movies of that year.
And you know what? We have this. We got this vibe. You just alley-ooped the sequel. Top Gun Maverick. That movie was the biggest Memorial Day box office champion a couple years ago. It set the record, right?
Yeah. And was also the first big post-pandemic people will
made a lot of money. It was
people will still buy tickets, movies.
It helped in 2023 to have the best Memorial Day weekend I think ever was in 2023. That was dethroned this past weekend with another Tom Cruise movie, but not just Tom Cruise, but Lilo and Stitch. So, just so we're clear, last weekend, the Memorial Day box office hit the highest it's ever hit in the history of the Memorial Day box office weekend, powered by really Lilo and Stitch, which made $182 million over the 3-day weekend. $182 million.
Impressive.
It made more than Thunderbolts has in the full month. Mission Impossible, which
impressive.
Also knocked it out of the park, made almost $80 million over the weekend. So right there, you know what I mean? You've got 75, 80%. But and here's the other thing. Other movies still performed over the weekend. I mean, those totals are gargantuan, but you've got Final Destination Bloodlines that made $25 million over the weekend. Thunderbolts made 12 million, and Sinners made another almost 11 million.
Sinners has been just amazing to watch.
Yeah, so I mean,
every weekend it just hauls this dump truck load of cash in, and
I'm gonna say, and I've said this
before.
Movie. I've said this before, and then I regret it later when everything tanks after a certain month. But I'm gonna go back to something we were talking about last week, and kind of just tie a little bow on it. And it's 2 points really. One is, if things continue the way that they're going with some of the bigger releases scheduled for the summer, some things coming in the fall, and in the holiday time around Thanksgiving and Christmas, this could be really we're back year, right? 2025.
Yeah.
Because
2024 was close.
right.
It was the best year since 2020.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, again, the peak box office was probably 2018, 2019 when you're talking about, and let me say, when I say box office, a lot of times I am specifically referencing domestic. The international box office is a huge piece of movie success, but I tend to focus on the domestic just because, we're inundated in this country with movie theaters, not like other countries.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, we're talking, 11 high, almost close to 12 million those 2 years. Obviously pandemic, we dropped drastically. But it did. It made a comeback. 2022, obviously it jumped up a little over 7. I'm sorry. And I'm saying million. I meant billions. Apologies. 2023 was a good one. 8.9 billion. 2024, it did dip. You know what powered 2023 though? Again, Top Gun Maverick, Barbie, and Oppenheimer were the three big ones. So here's my second point. 2 things. Movie theaters aren't dead. The idea that the movie theaters are going away or will go away is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What the correct statement should be.
That's what I was talking about last hour. That you look at the box office, and at most you can say that audiences after the pandemic are more picky. They won't just roll out every weekend because there's nothing else to do anymore.
Right. No, I think you got it right.
You got to wow them, but when you do wow them, they show up.
Well, and I would add to your comment there is I think it's going to be more difficult even going forward to try to predict what wins and what doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good point.
Lilo and Stitch being a box office success is that's not a scary bet to make, right?
Yeah.
But to have such a monumental weekend, right? The other thing too, and this will be interesting to watch, is Lilo and Stitch is a PG movie, and you kind of wonder, people are always like, well, they need to make less R-rated movies and more, know, and I'm like, they do. R-rated movies are very rarely get the screen time that PG and PG-13 movies do. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of
occasionally, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about things like The Passion of the Christ or Deadpool and Wolverine, but I mean,
that's
for the most
why I
part,
think so many directors are willing to trim and edit things to get a PG-13 rating.
Yeah,
because it just means more people are going to be seeing the movie, and how important is that extra curse word?
Well, there's a term in marketing too when you're talking about like search engine marketing called the long tail and long and short tail keywords kind of thing. And I think of that sometimes with movies, right? Is the long tail ones, right? There's keywords that you can bid on for advertising that are very cheap, and then there's ones that are super expensive. And the super expensive ones, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can get, I feel like sometimes a lot of these big blockbuster type movies help funnel like the development of other more artsy creative projects that Hollywood's a little more willing to gamble on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I actually kind of thumb my nose sometimes at the beret wearing folks when they're like, oh, Hollywood needs to promote more of our artsy movies, and I'm like, hey man, these big blockbusters are funding your artsy movies.
Yeah,
so like it's a symbiotic. It's it's symbiotic. You have to,
and there's an audience that there's crossovers that don't happen. That just does disappoint me, or potential crossover. There was one at Sundance this year called the Wedding Planner, which was a remake of a 90s movie called The Wedding Planner, but they sort of shook up the casting and even the genders of certain people in the original story, and it made it even funnier. And I watched that at the Eccles Theater in the afternoon during Sundance and thought this would be a blockbuster. If it got a wide release, everyone would laugh at this movie. It's just that funny. But it got picked up and got kind of scuttled off to a streaming service. So there are crossovers that I think are missed. But yeah, the art house, there's a reason it's an art house movie.
Yeah.
And there's a reason. I mean, it's two different worlds. And
It's kind of, and let's be honest, like, they're not safe bets.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, they're not going to. Even some of the biggest successes.
Mm-hmm.
But you go back and watch Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
That was a blockbuster for the year. I mean, it was one of the biggest money makers of the year. It was still an offbeat, low budget, kind of very Sundance script comedy.
Right.
And that's not for everybody.
Well, and that's the thing, that those are the little gems that, the studios look for a lot of times, is because, to your point, like, you take Little Miss Sunshine, right? And that probably I don't know, the budget for that was probably $8 million, I think, if I remember
cheap.
correctly. Yeah.
And Steve Carell worked for free, I think.
But worldwide it made $102 million. I mean, that's a fairly steep profit, you know what I mean? So it's not a, $900 billion, $900 million Star Wars, but $100 million on an $8 million budget is a pretty good return. It's
pretty decent.
So they're looking for things like that when you come to art house cinema. But again, it kind of has to catch fire, and a lot of that stuff is viral. So that's my thing too. I mean, people say all the time, "Oh man, I wish that Hollywood made more original movies." And
Your voice for news and talk is right here on your radio. Breaking news and stimulating talk. KVNU Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.